Welcome to this morning's edition of the Biker Angle, episode 720. I'm happy to announce we are now on Instagram TV. So go on over and like us on Instagram at Motorcycle Madhouse. And you can view the Madhouse right there from your cell phone. If you'd like to support the show with $1 or $2, you can do so by becoming a monthly Patreon over at Insane Throttle, or by a one-time donation over at PayPal, topfuelabd@gmail.com. Those watching on Instagram TV, you can watch the show for full on YouTube at InsaneThrottleBikerNews.com. IGTV only allows 10 minutes of upload time. So, let's jump right into it. The following article is a textbook example why when asked by someone if they should join an MC or an RC, and I always say stay independent or join a biker rights organization. At the end of this article, I'll explain further what I mean. Mulholland, 53 of the Villas section of Lower Township, pleaded guilty to second-degree racketeering before Judge Bernard DeLury in Atlantic County Superior Court as part of a plea deal. He will testify during the trial and could be sentenced to a maximum of 10 years in state prison. Mulholland said he got OxyContin prescriptions from now-deceased doctor James Kauffman and then sold them to Freddy, Augello, with whom he rode motorcycles 6 or 7 times. He described himself as a worker when asked by DeLury to explain his role in the scheme's hierarchy. Asked what Augello's role was, Mulholland said he was the boss. Basically, the dude's going to be ratting on Augello, who's 62, of Upper Township, an alleged Pagan's motorcycle gang leader, and is charged with murder and accused of hiring a hitman to kill April Kauffman, a move prosecutors say was motivated by husband James Kauffman's desire to hide the drug ring he ran through his Egg Harbor Township medical practice with Augello, who pleaded not guilty during his arraignment April 19th. Augello's public defender, Mary Lehan, was not surprised that Mulholland entered into the plea deal and said it doesn't change anything for her client. Mulholland, and this is a quote, had been cooperating with the state for a while, she said. He gave statements to police that he was the driver for the man that was alleged to have killed April Mulholland. Or no, April Kauffman, actually. I'm sorry, my fault. Retract. This article, man, these East Coast guys. Anyway, Francis Mulholland, who authorities pegged as the hitman in the killing, died in October 2013. The two Mulhollands are not related. That is messed up. There is the exact reason why I say join an RC or a bikers' right organization. And you know what? Yesterday we covered an article out of Canada where law enforcement was claiming SOA had an effect on more and more people joining outlaw motorcycle clubs. I gave some viewpoints on that, but the above article is what I truly think is what is wrong with the MC community. Why I always tell people to stay independent, or at most join a riding club or a club that is like a mom and pop, that type of deal. Basically, if you do not know what you're getting into, then don't get involved. This accounts for the majority out there looking into joining a motorcycle club, especially a one-percenter club. For example, if you have to go to social media groups to ask questions or to get some kind of education on clubs, you don't belong in one, especially a true one-percenter club. If you have, a professional job or career, you don't belong in a motorcycle club like a one-percenter club. that it's street orientated, those clubs. Basically, if you cannot risk that 401k and your family's future, or doing some time for some shit you get involved with, you don't belong in a motorcycle club. Most importantly, if you can't do the time, then stay away. You cannot 1 minute claim to be a super badass, then the next sing like a damn canary when the heat comes down. People, here is the straight up facts of the matter. When the heat comes calling, you will see all kinds of people start running for cover. It will be every man for themselves at that point. All the tough talk that is on display on the streets and on social media, or how brotherhood is talked about so highly among a lot of those people who claim to be rock solid, is a fantasy. I mentioned earlier those who go to these social media groups for education or advice or whatever the hell you call it. Here's some education for you folks. Members of a true 1%er club are not out there on social media handing out advice. Those who are in these groups handing out advice are either out bad, or their club don't know, or they just don't want nothing to do with them. If they were, they sure the hell wouldn't be handing out advice to civilians. Not only does it open them up to scrutiny from members of their club for making them look bad, but it also gives the cops the perfect target for intelligence purposes. Basically, what you're going to get in these groups are guys who are a bunch of woofing, as I call it, they woof. They either are trying to sell themselves or promote some type of scheme. So let me ask you a question. Is it or isn't it true when someone might have done is it true that what somebody might have done in the past is irrelevant to who they are now? For example, take Sammy the Bull Gravano, the underboss for the Gambino crime family. Here's a dude who was once the most feared and looked up person in the underworld. Well, until he flipped and testified against his people, but that is irrelevant right now. Basically, even though Gravano made a mark on the underworld at one point, that shit doesn't matter. It's not worth the shit right now. He's a nobody, he's a rat, and is actually hunted in the mafia scene. Basically, for those who do not know that kind of scene, the equivalent would be out bad in biker terms. But motorcycle clubs most of the time don't go around killing rats unless they have the opportunity if it presents. But whatever. The point is irrelevant. The past doesn't mean a damn thing now. Them type of people have no friends or associates in their old club or old crew or whoever the hell they hung around with. So what does that make him? Makes him just like everyone else. Probably just a little worse, because in the biker community, a person who was out bad is looked like they didn't even exist. Reason I bring this up is because when I talk to those clubs, this is the very first thing they bring up. Something that needs to be taken into consideration while out in these groups, guys, seeking advice. This morning, I received a call about 5:30 from a member of a large 1%er club. He was fuming, pissed that one of these groups on Facebook were putting out the information they were. These stupid bastards are going to get someone fucked up or killed by the shit they are pushing. I explained to him that I understood, but all I could do is put the word out there. People, motorcycle clubs, especially real 1%er clubs, are no jokes. Whatever's being pushed in these groups can get you hurt. The street is an entirely different world. It's reality, not some group where you hear these people woofing about how great they are. I encourage everyone to listen to Motorcycle Madhouse episode 38, where I get more in depth on all this. But right now, let's get into some more news. Party rental trucks were at the club's Nana Mio headquarters on Thursday. Tents and porta potties are in place, and new fencing is going up in preparations for what will be the largest Hells Angel event in Naomi in years. I am not even going to try to talk about that town's name again. Jesus Christ, the way they come up with names. Anyways, we haven't seen this many Hells Angels, remember, in our city since they used to have an event called Angels Acres on a property south of town, said Constable Gary O'Brien with the RCMP. That has since been shut down since the property was sold. Up to 300 full patch members and affiliated biker gangs members are expected to arrive in the town this weekend. Police, including BC's Combined Special Forces Enforcement Unit, will be watching closely both to deter criminal activity and ensure public safety. Quote, "It's part of a sanctioned event which is happening in our town," said O'Brien. "It's the 35th anniversary of the formation of the chapter. The Vancouver chapter, White Rock, and East End. The unofficial clubhouse on Victoria Road is right beside the former clubhouse. It was seized under BC's Civil Forfeiture Act in 2007, it says. The Hells Angels are appealing that seizure in British Columbia Supreme Court. Those in the city today have mixed views about the city hosting such a large biker gang gathering." You notice they always have to say biker gang? Quote, and this is from a resident who did not want to give his last name. "I don't welcome them here, but there's nothing you can do about them. I expect, like in the past years, they'll behave themselves and the cops will keep a good watch on them, but next year they can go find somewhere else to go." Now, did that make any sense? Dude just said they always behave themselves, but they can go find somewhere else to go. You know what? Ignorant asses, anyway. "I've got no objection really at the moment," said Ann Lester, who actually gave her last name, the town's resident. "If they're here, I'm sure they'll manage themselves and everything should be fine, I hope." Well, that's what usually happens. Good for the community. I'm sure they'll go to the stores and bring up the economy to right, and they're going to be spending lots, so I think it will be good. Jason Mathewson, who's visiting from Alberta. Now, the dude has a real big point. Every time bikers come to a town, they spend lots of money. It's awesome for the economy. But, hey, it's the killjoy cops that are the ones always screwing shit up. Police say people should expect seeing gang members wearing their colors on the streets. Well, no shit. Where the hell are you going to wear them? Idiots. Quote, "They should know that we are aware this event is taking place," said O'Brien. "We're not expecting any issues whatsoever, and we should have sufficient manpower in place in the event something does happen." Well, no shit, you know the event's taking place. It's fucking probably advertised everywhere. It should be a busy weekend. The Hells Angels gathering is happening at the same time as the city's famous Bathtub Festival. Oh my God, a Bathtub Festival. Okay, guys, up north, what the hell is a Bathtub Festival? Really? Anyway, finally, how big Harley Davidson is and why it's a trade war target. To people all over the world, Harley Davidson represents America. It's an identity that has put it front and center in President Donald Trump's trade war. The company was one of the targets of a recent EU tariffs and now seems to be on the president's bad side. Well, yeah, of course they would be after, they took all the tax breaks and then they ran. But anyway, not getting into it. But a few decades ago, its American identity helped to save Harley from going under. Actually, no. Reagan going out there and taxing the shit out of all the other motorcycle companies actually what saved them. But it's their story. Let them tell it. In the late 1970s, Harley Davidson was in deep trouble. Its bikes had dropped in quality and the motorcycle industry in America was being taken over by the Japanese brands. Its share of the U.S. heavy bike market had dropped from 75% in the early 70s to just 25% in the early 80s. Well, I wonder why the hell that was. Anyway, the situation was so dire that a group of Harley executives led by CEO Beals bought out the company from then-owner AMF in 1981. They launched an ambitious strategy to turn the company around. They shrunk the workforce, improved quality, and they reached out to International Trade Commission for help with foreign countries. In 1983, Reagan, I said this earlier, didn't I, raised tariffs by 45% on large motorcycles coming into America. It would help slow the progress of Japanese bike makers. And speaking at Harley's facility in York, Pennsylvania in 87, Reagan stated, quote, "It was like giving a boxer a few extra weeks of training before a fight." No, actually, what Reagan did, he stacked the deck. Harley-Davidson would go on to make a historic comeback. In 87, it was on the New York Stock Exchange, and by 89, it reclaimed nearly 50% share of the heavy bike market. So, let's see here. The government back then got involved in private business and stacked the deck against Harley's competitors, gave it a little kick in the ass, and they came back. But 2018, Trump gives them tax breaks, all that blah, 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 and next thing you know, they turn their back on the country. Anyway, while those older tariffs helped Harley to survive, these newer ones are likely to harm it. As of 2014, Harley-Davidson had a 35% share of the U.S. market. Notice it said 2014. That's, 2 years before Trump took office? But anyway, which is more than any other manufacturer. Its sales, though, have slipped. Harley's worldwide sales dropped from more than 260 and these are 1,000, in 2016 to under 243 in 2017. In that same year, Honda sold more than 17.6 million, and that marked a rise from the year before. Holy shit. 17.6 million units. Anyway, Harley may have been the biggest share at home, but abroad they are outsold by millions. God damn, you think? The UE tariffs would have put more pressure on Harley. They would have either had to pass along the cost, making its already pricey motorcycles even more expensive compared with competition. You notice how everybody brings up prices of Harley? Anyway, or the company would have to absorb the cost itself, hurting its profit margin. God forbid they do that and back up the company or the country, back up the steel and aluminum workers. Yeah, God forbid. To ward off against that, Harley has talked about evading the tariffs by shifting more manufacturing outside the U.S. A decision that angered Trump. He tweeted that his administration would now work with other motorcycle companies who want to move into the U.S. There you go. And I bet Honda be the next one, or let's see here, Yamaha. Maybe we'd get Honda open that Ohio plant back up. But perfect move on Trump's part. Harley don't want to go along with the country, fight with it, get what's right for our workers, then fuck them. In the 80s, Harley was once again an independent company and on the rise, with then President on its side. Its rally cry to celebrate the move was, "The Eagles soar alone." Today, it might not be in a celebration, but it's just as fitting. Yeah, right. The Eagles soar alone. No, the Eagle, Harley-Davidson, sold out for profits. They don't want their bottom line missed. That's the problem with Harley, and you know what? A lot of bikers out there really can't stand Harley-Davidson anymore, especially the younger ones. They're not, you know what? They don't got this, you have to be a biker and you have to, in order to do that, own a Harley-Davidson. They don't think that fucking way anymore. Personally, Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, they got some badass bikes out there. You know, I love the Mean Streaks. I love the Midnight Stars. There's some nice fucking bikes out there that put Harley to shame, actually. But I'm James Hollywood Machikari, and this was today's edition of the Biker Angle. Don't forget, Motorcycle Madhouse episode 38 comes out tomorrow, and boy do we go through some stuff on that one. But for now, you guys keep the rubber side down, crack that throttle, and stay safe. Watch out for all the idiots out there.